Hello, as we begin Holy Week this year and celebrate Palm Sunday, I wanted to share a few thoughts with you about Palm Sunday and our journey ahead towards Easter. The accounts of Palm Sunday tell us that Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. The people who were in Jerusalem at the time would almost certainly have heard of who Jesus was. They would have known something about him, even if they hadn't seen him before for themselves. And they were all waiting for God to send his chosen one, his Messiah, to come and save them from Roman oppression. They would have known the different Old Testament prophecies that said the chosen one, the Messiah, would ride down from the Mount of Olives on a donkey. This all pointed to Jesus being the promised one that they were waiting for. This was why they were cheering and worshipping him and celebrating so much. But why a donkey? Traditionally, conquering army generals would have ridden on great strong horses, not domestic donkeys. As with so many other things of God, this points to how God's kingdom is upside down. It's topsy-turvy. How God values what humans often look down on. How God's order often turns what we expect and what we're used to on its head. If we look back just a couple of months ago, we were being told that non-British nationals would only be allowed to move to this country if they were able to earn a certain amount of money, amongst other things. There was much in the media about the distinction between those with skills and those who were deemed unskilled workers. Fast forward to now, and many of those who were being described as unskilled are now designated as key workers, while many skilled workers have been put on furlough. Care workers, shop shelf stackers, cleaners, refuse collectors and delivery drivers, amongst others, are now recognised as essential to our lives and even to our survival. We are now applauding NHS and other key workers weekly as a sign of how much we value their contributions to society. A reminder of the value of those we so often overlook or take for granted. A reminder that God never overlooks any of us. Those crowds who worshipped Jesus on Palm Sunday quickly disappeared though. In a few days' time, we'll remember how even Jesus' closest friends abandoned him when things got tough. It's easy to be led along by a crowd, isn't it? When those around you are cheering someone, it's very easy to join in. When something dramatic happens, like Jesus riding into Jerusalem on a donkey, it's easy to give your attention to what is going on. I imagine, though, that when the parade finished, when the dramatic scene stopped, the crowd drifted away, thinking instead of more mundane things, about where they were going to stay, when they were going to meet up with distant family members, where they were going to eat their evening meal. We often turn to God in the extremes of life, the good and the bad. I think it's why people often turn to the church for weddings, christenings and funerals, and why we see so many more people at our services at Christmas and usually at Easter. People want to connect with God when something special happens. We're seeing it happen at this unusual time as well. Apparently, more people are engaging with the services being broadcast on the BBC and those online than usually go to church on a Sunday. When things get tough, people turn to God. They look for his comfort and they look for the answers to the big questions in life. In addition to it being a really extreme time right now, people are also turning their focus back to God because most of us don't have the same distractions that we have at other times. Sunday morning sports have stopped. We can't go on that day trip to the beach. We can't plan a trip to meet up with family members. And we can even go to church in our pyjamas if we want right now. Unless we're frontline workers, we have possibly a unique opportunity to connect with God at this strange time. I did a bit of weeding the other day. Some of the weeds in my garden were very easy to pull up, although they looked rather impressive or daunting on the surface. Underneath, their roots were really shallow and just pulled up really easily. Others, like stinging nettles, I discovered, have incredibly deep and deep roots, which make them very hard to pull up. Even if you pull up what's above the ground, the roots stay there and the nettles will eventually grow back. Let's use this unusual Holy Week and Easter this year to really deepen the roots of our faith. I've sent out this and a family Holy Week journey, as well as lots of other resources, and there will be more following as we journey through the rest of the week. Do make use of them as we journey. Let's use this time to really engage with Jesus' journey to his death and resurrection. Let's use this time to really try to grasp just how deep God's love is for each and every one of us, so that when we enter into whatever the new normal looks like, we don't allow ourselves to be distracted from all the blessings that come from spending time with Jesus. Do keep in touch, do keep checking your emails and post boxes for more resources as they come out. I'll be praying for you all as we journey towards Easter this year. God bless you all.